Hola, bienvenidos. Hoy estamos en el primer episodio de She Runs the World y tenemos con nosotros a Alex. Today we are going to talk about running, but not just running kilometers, but about running as a woman. Do you want to introduce yourself a little bit?
Yeah, of course. Well, first of all, I just want to say thank you so much for inviting me. It's such an honor to be the first person opening with the first episode here. I have been running for about 7 years now, and running is something that came into my life a bit later on in my journey. And more recently, this past fall, I relocated to Europe and to Spain and came to Barcelona here and found this amazing community at House of Felix. And I'm just really excited to be here today and talk to you and share more about my running experience and my story.
Yeah. Okay, we are talking today about bodies on moving in spaces that probably that weren't always designed for them. And your experience and all these things. So what running does mean for you, for example?
Yeah, that's a big question. I think running is a space where I can bring my whole self. And I think it's also a really powerful tool for self-discovery and for growth. I think running, no matter what is going on in life, when you go out on a run, you give yourself space to be.
Yeah, it's like sometimes you didn't understand yourself and it's like I'm going to run and forget everything.
Yeah, exactly. And you just have a stronger connection to yourself when you're out there and when you're running and when you have this sacred space where you can just exist, whatever it is that is going on in your heart and your mind.
And knowing yourself, probably you don't know as well your body and these things or your limits. You think that I can do that, but you start running and you do more that what you think. I don't know if
It's always different, yeah. I think no matter where it's never going to be what you think it is.
No,
you just with running, you have to kind of let go of any expectation and you just have to surrender. And running is something that can keep humbling you over and over and over again, because you might, show up and you think, you're confident and I got this, but going through something hard and pushing your own limits and becoming vulnerable gives you an opportunity to get to know yourself on a deeper level. And I think that's what's really beautiful. And that's what I mean. Running is a tool for self-discovery because you get to know parts of yourself as you keep pushing your own boundaries and stretching and growing. And it's really a beautiful journey.
Yeah. And you like to run for objectives?
I think I like to run for experience.
Okay, more than...
It's never about the medal. It's never about the achievement. It is more about the journey. And I'm someone, because I don't have a traditional running background. I didn't grow up running or doing sports. I don't have an athletic background. And so for me, it's become a way to do some storytelling through the running, And I've chosen my races. Some of them came to me, but some of them I chose very specifically. And I never had the dream to do all 6 majors for marathons or it was not, I don't have kind of that background. So my races are I did my first ultra marathon was back home in Bosnia.
Whoa.
In the mountains, this mountain where I briefly lived during the war. And going there was kind of me going back and facing my fears that I had when I was a little girl living there, and kind of embracing that little girl
inside.
And, and just and kind of showing her that, you know, she doesn't have to be scared.
Oh,
and it
so
was
cool.
so empowering, and it was so healing, coming back to kind of like my roots and my ancestry, and, you know, getting a chance to do something like that in my homeland.
So it's more something to embrace yourself, no?
Yeah, absolutely.
And your self journey more than doing
it's
races.
Never about a PR. It's never about, you know, like...
That's a cool thing about running.
It is.
So, because you get like obsessed with PR, with kilometers, with all these things, and finally you get burned out.
Yeah.
And that's not cool.
Yeah, and running is so beautiful because it's very open, and you can make it your own. You can run your own way. Whatever it means to you, you embrace it and make it yours. And I think that's really the coolest part of it.
And for example, now I'm seeing a lot in social media, like the police runners. I don't know if you have seen it.
The what?
Like, for example, I don't run a 5:30 kilometer pace.
Yeah.
And now it's like, no, you don't run 15 kilometers, and at this pace, you're not a runner.
Oh my God, that is, I don't know what I haven't seen that.
Yeah.
But that's awful.
Yeah, that's awful.
Everybody is a runner. I don't know if there's this book, this beautiful book that is called Born to Run. And it talks about how we all have in our nature.
Yeah, like we have
as
a body.
Humans, we all have a body, and we all have ability to move and run, and any kind of forward motion is acceptable and welcomed. And there's no rules about you know, like if you don't meet a certain criteria, you're not a runner. Everybody's a runner. And I tell people that, everybody, you know, people who are like, oh, I'm not a runner. I'm like, yes, you are. You just don't know it. You've just been taught and conditioned to think that you're not, but you are.
You are running, so you are a runner. So you, for example, you grow up in New York, right? I'm right? I'm not.
So I'm from a lot of different places.
Yeah.
I was born in Bosnia and lived in the Balkans as a child.
Okay.
Because I was really young when the war started. I was 2 years old. And because of the war, we moved around a ton. And when I was 13, I came to the United States.
Okay.
So yes, I think like growing up, what does it really mean? You know, I feel like I became an adult in New York.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah, and the first place where I landed in the United States was Maine. It's a state that borders Canada, like on the northern border of the U.S. And I lived there for 9 years. I went to high school and college there, and then I moved to New York. And so New York is the biggest chunk of my life where I spent. And so it feels like home. I have many homes, but when I think of home, it's where I lived the most lives and where I learned the most lessons, I think.
And you started running in New York?
Yes.
And how it feels running in New York? in all the aspects.
Yeah.
Like fears, securities, community.
Yeah. I think New York is a really special place to run because it has so many running communities. Okay. There are so many runners. You walk out and, you know, into the streets and people are moving, people are running. It's very inspiring. I think New York has this energy of like hustle and bustle and the grind, and people are very motivated and very ambitious, and like everybody goes there to chase a dream, you know? Yeah, so it's like the nonstop energy. And like no matter what the day looks like, you know, if it's like -5 degrees out there, or if it's windy, or if it's, you know, crazy hot, you see people putting in the work.
Okay.
And that is really something that is special and, I don't know, I think just hard to come by. And like running the streets of New York, I think some of my favorite times to run would be early in the morning before everything wakes up, because I get the city to myself.
Oh, like while city is sleeping.
City.
It's sleeping.
A city which never sleeps.
It's sleeping.
It's the closest to sleeping that it gets. But you get like the early morning, like bakers dropping off the bread, or just little movements. But that quiet time with the city is really special.
And you think that community of running in United States, for example, and here in Europe are different? We see it in a different way, a different point of view, or not? It's the same?
I think it's different. And I still haven't found the right words.
Okay.
Because there's pockets of communities and vibes and beliefs everywhere. And we were just in Paris for Paris Fashion Week, and I think it was my first time in Paris. So getting a chance to experience the running community there was really special, and it reminded me of New York so much, because I think New York is a place where you have so many different people. It's like a melting pot, culturally, demographically, people from all kinds of backgrounds and all walks of life, and they're brought into running. Okay. So I think here it's a bit more traditional, where I look and I don't, I see more of, not to stereotype, but more of a what I would look and see, oh, that's a runner. Yeah. Versus in the States, or in New York, not in the States as a whole because it's a big place, but in New York specifically, I can speak to, you see people that don't look like runners.
For me, looks more like underground, and here is more like you're a runner. Yeah. You go best like a runner.
Yeah, I think I would agree with that, in terms of like some of my initial observations. Yeah, I'm still new. Experience. I'm still new here to this side of the world, so I still have a lot to learn. But I do think that people here are very focused on their running careers and their performance, and it's more. I think they take it more seriously. I think in New York, the way that some people run, not everybody. I think there's a lot of intensity in running there too, but the way that some people run is more like play. Getting a chance to play in the streets, to be a little bit risky, a little bit reckless, to just kind of go outside and feel like a child in a way,
Playing, having fun.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Hanging out with friends, doing something that we love together. And while we're on this topic, I just want to give a little shout out to my running crew at Home Run. You got some questions about Home Run?
Go ahead.
They are a Brooklyn-based streetwear clothing store and a running crew. And I say running crew because there's a difference between a running crew and a running club. And that became so obvious to me over the past couple of months. And I've heard people talk about this, but I wasn't sure. I never really experienced it. And I never really ran. When I first started running, I ran with this charity called American Cancer Society. And that's where it all began for me. I lost my mom. I'm branching out a little bit, but I'll bring us back, I promise.
No worries.
I lost my mom to cancer in 2018. And that's how running came into my life. I was in a really dark place in my life, and I was in my office, and one of my coworkers told me that American Cancer Society was coming to do a presentation about training people for a half marathon, and I was like, I can't do that. I can't run 20 kilometers.
Run to the bus.
Exactly. And then I just said, I'm going to go and check it out. And so I did. And the coach was incredible. He was actually from Spain, Ramon. He's my first coach and one of my biggest role models in running. And I just felt so drawn to what he was trying to accomplish and raising funds for the charity.
Yeah.
And so that was very much so full circle. And so finding community there was really great. But ever since then, I never ran with anybody else. I did running by myself.
Okay.
And then last year I found Home Run. And I was like, what? This is
this is my place.
This is home. It just, when you go somewhere and it just feels so natural and so organic, and you just feel like you can be yourself. And it's a place that is very inclusive. It's a place that welcomes anybody in with open arms and so much love. And it's not intimidating. It's not scary. So if for anybody who's listening, or if you are ever in New York, you must go out for a run Saturday mornings and Thursday mornings, Thursday evenings. Are the 2 days that they run in Brooklyn.
And you think that changed your relationship with running, start to running in a community or with this crew?
Yeah, I think running alone is very different than running with others. When you are alone, you're alone with yourself and your thoughts.
And with yourself.
At your own mercy. It's a gift and a curse.
Yeah, exactly.
And, I think you have to entertain yourself. You have to dig yourself out of a hole if you are having a hard day while you're on your run. You really have to be your own best friend, your own hype man, however you need to do it. Get yourself through the run. When you're running with people, there's less pressure.
Yeah.
There's, if you are able to talk during the run, everything just kind of, there's a little bit more...
chill, probably.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people hyping you.
Yes.
And it's, let's go 1 kilometer
You just
more.
kind of vibe off of each other's energy.
Yeah, that's so cool.
And I think I found during those runs, if I am able to connect with one person, I've had some of the deepest conversations.
Yeah.
Because I think there's something about being next to each other, but you're not looking at each other.
Exactly.
You're looking forward, and you're not conscious about the other person. And so you can go really deep. It feels like therapy. You can just, and when you move your body, things come up, and it's such a special place. And if you are able to share that with another person, it can be really powerful in terms of that connection. And there's no judgment. There's no you're just kind of moving forward and speaking whatever comes up in the moment and what feels right. And I love that so much.
Yeah, that's so pretty.
And so sometimes I'll call people on my run.
Oh.
I'll, for example.
And you speak running, hi.
Yes, yeah. It's good for your heart conditioning. It's good for your lungs. If you can speak, but you go slow. You don't.
Okay.
You adjust. You're not. Running is so much of running is breathing and breath work, and everything. So if you can kind of stabilize that and go at a gentle pace where you can have a conversation, because there's easy runs, there's runs where you push. I wouldn't call someone on a hill workout because that wouldn't be pleasant for them on the other side.
Yeah, but that's a cool idea.
I call my aunt.
Call your friends and call your family.
Yes, I call my aunt and I talk to her for an hour sometimes on my long runs.
I'm sorry, today it's a long run, so.
Yeah, and sometimes people don't mind. They want to be there for you. They want to help you push through something hard that you're doing. And it's a nice way to have people become part of your running journey also. Yeah. Because so much of it we do by ourselves, and people don't really understand it. They think it's weird.
You're running for fun at 5 a.m.
Right, exactly.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, and going back a little bit, so in a part starting running, healed you a little bit or helped you to start your healing journey. That's so cool, that's so pretty. I think that makes all this running journey better.
Yeah. I think, man, I don't know how to articulate some of this and how to put it into words, but there is something really special and beautiful that happens when you are able to feel your pain, because we have so much pain in our bodies and all the traumas and all the emotions that we store, and we bottle them up.
Yeah.
And we put them away, and we don't want to see them. We don't want to face them. But running allows you space to really face yourself. And it's like a mirror in a way. You can really get to know yourself again on a much deeper level. And when you do hard things, being able to overcome and push through and get to know who you are when you when you go beyond your limits. And for me, I remember when I was training for my first ultra marathon, the one that I mentioned earlier in Bosnia. I was going through another tough phase in my life where I was going through a divorce. And I joke with people, like, I ran through my divorce, but it was amazing. Like, running helped me, like, just find myself, connect, find acceptance, find peace, find compassion for myself. And I did have to like go really, really deep and like strip myself down. Like, that race was one of the hardest ones that I've ever done. It took me 15 hours to finish. It was 78 kilometers and like almost 4,000 meters of climbing.
That's really.
But like, you just get to know yourself on a way different level, and it gives you such confidence to tackle anything that life throws at you, because after doing something like that, you're like, I believe in myself in a different way. I feel like a superwoman. I feel like I can do anything,
If
I did that, and I came out.
I can run the world.
Yeah, and it's really amazing because, like, when you go into these, I feel like any race, you start, in a certain way, but you emerge on the other side of the finish line as a different person, and it's almost like, this process that happens during the race where it's like a butterfly, you're like a little caterpillar at the start line, and then at the end you come out as a butterfly, and it's so transformative, that whole experience, and it's very healing.
Yeah, and I think that's very healing when you get to the finish line, and you see all the journey you've been going through, and it's like, oh my God, it really.
Yeah, it's very empowering. Yeah, I mean, I'm just so grateful because even on like some of the hardest days when things get hard, or life throws you problems or challenges, I just remind myself that I'll always have running, and that is such comfort.
Yeah.
Because it's like your best friend and like your favorite activity, and like
you and your body and yourself.
Yeah. I don't know if that sounds crazy, but I really I don't care. It's what it means to me and what it's done for me. And in a way, I personally feel connected to it on a much deeper level because it came from a place of some of the biggest pain that I experienced in my life, losing my mom because she was my only family. And there was such a big void in my heart. After losing her, I didn't have purpose. I didn't know why. I felt like, I didn't want to wake up. I didn't have a reason to wake up. And it feels like almost it was a gift from her, to be like, here's this. You can you can have something to hang on to. And so I get to experience her through running in very intimate ways that I won't talk about here. But it's like, we're together in this journey, even though she's no longer here. So feel very lucky to have come into running and to be able to share it with others. And it's such a gift, and if people can tap into it and see all that running has to offer, it can be a really beautiful thing. Yeah. Yeah, take a water break.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Heartbreak is going to happen to all of us. That's the experience that we have on this earth. It's about how we deal with it. And there's something about taking your darkness and the heaviness and turning it into light and turning it into inspiration and into something positive that you can put out into the universe that is so magical. And I think that's the secret, you can either have it drag you and block you, all these things that happen, because it's life. Or you can make it into something beautiful, and then it becomes art.
Yeah, I like to say that the things that happen to you, you are the things that you do with all that happens to you.
Yeah, and we have a choice.
Yeah.
It's kind of reclaiming our power and choosing. You can choose to let it dig you into the ground, and that's where you'll stay for the rest of your life. Or you can choose to transform it and to move forward as a better person because of it, and learn the lessons, because there's a lesson in everything.
Yeah, in everything.
And I know it's cliche, but I really do subscribe to the statement that everything that happens to us happens for a reason. I know it. Like, it's just I've had so many proofs of that in my life, and it's just the things that we have to experience.
Yeah. Okay, so moving a little bit, you feel like running as a woman, it's a lot of different than running as a man?
Yeah, I think at first I didn't really think about that because I was in my own little bubble as a runner, just kind of trying to move and trying to find my own journey. But now I do think, I look around and it's very obvious in terms of representation and in terms of the faces that you see out there. And I think about the fact that, just like decades ago, it wasn't acceptable for a woman to run. Like, we were told that our uterus would fall out.
Yeah.
Like, who made us believe that? That is the craziest
it's
thing.
Crazy. It's very crazy.
And here we are running miles and miles and kilometers, and we're fine. We're still intact. Our bodies are still functioning. But I think it's not as intimidating for a man to enter the world of running. And there's so much more history and there's so much more legacy in the male running world than there is in the female side. And I am very excited to see that change.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to some of these bigger organizations who are investing in more equality at the start lines, not only for gender equality, but also people of color. There's more representation, and whether it's in marathons or trail running or these special projects, it's really beautiful to see that change. And I think women, I'm just going to say this, are way better ultra runners than men are.
There's a lot of studies about.
I mean, Courtney Dauwalter is the greatest ultra runner of all times. Yeah. Period. Like full stop. Not just a female runner, but like as you know, in the trail running as a whole. And I think in nature, like it is in our nature to be more patient, more nurturing, more like, I think the feminine and the masculine energies are like, have their strengths. And I think the masculine is very like driven with fire, and it's very active, and it's very like go, and you know it can go through a wall. You know, it's very fierce, and there's a lot of force, which is good for certain things. But the feminine is more about kind of like big picture and long term and visionary and softer and more gentle. And that is better for going long, going the distance. And that's why I think women have this incredible ability to endure, to tolerate more pain, to tolerate harder things in a way that the male energy just can't sustain. And I think it's also evident in like giving birth, you know, something like that.
Yeah, this is, I think, always my favorite part as a nurse. But
oh, you're a nurse. Yeah. Wait, I didn't know this.
But
it's amazing.
Girls, we have like we are sacred. Like, okay, we have like a cycle. Cycle.
Uh-huh.
Okay, we are cycler. So we need to see all our journey in a like as a picture, as you say.
Yeah.
And for example, men, there's always the same. Like testosterone is like always. Woo.
Yeah. Yeah. So, it's like we're so good at like the ebbs and the flows and swimming through that.
Yeah. So we have to know when we have to train some things, because in some phases of the cycle, for example, you can train strength, and men are like, I can do strength every day.
Every day, yeah. It's interesting how that works, and just some things come more naturally to women, and some things come more naturally to men. Like, and that's like when the two energies can coexist. I know I'm going a little bit philosophical now and like new agey, but. That's how it's meant to be, you know?
Yeah, but that's so cool that the two energies can coexist, because sometimes as a women, we train like men, and no, it's not healthy to work out all the month the same way for us.
Yeah, and I think that comes from a place of just being conditioned by the society and like the environment, and having these examples of what success looks like, or what good training looks like, or what, you know, that's why I think we've talked about this briefly. Like, I don't believe in like one single training program being
It's impossible.
The answer to everybody, because everybody's body is different and everybody has different strengths and different weaknesses.
Yeah, but that's the cool thing.
Yes, it's the coolest things, but it's like it takes work to find running your own way and finding what works for you. For me, I do yoga several times a week because those are the things that really help me open up.
Yeah.
And more mobility versus maybe someone who doesn't need that as much. Maybe they need to work on their strength and strengthening their bodies or something else. They spend their time differently. But I do think that like our bodies are so unique, and you really have to spend time with yourself. And to connect with your body and listen to your body. And that sounds a lot more simple than it actually is. It's the hardest thing to do, and not kind of duplicate whatever everybody else around you is doing, but to find your own way and your own path.
I like running in community because I see a lot of different bodies and different things and different paces and different people, and it's like, it's not all the things I see on social media.
Yes, and it's a good way to learn, from people, and you educate yourself, and you hear maybe someone's experiencing the same aches and pains that you are. It's like,
injury.
What helped you? Or like you found a cold plunge, or you found, I just recently, I've been injured the past 3 months, and I'm finally on the other side of it, which is really exciting. I'm like on cloud 9 to be running again. But I had an injury on my tibia, on my shin bone, and nothing was helping, nothing that I tried. And so I just needed to rest. And I also found shockwave therapy, which I've never done before. And it's supposed to be like very helpful for ligaments and joints. And so, it's like it never stops. You can just keep learning about these different ways how you can heal your body and care for yourself. Because I think that's what running also teaches you, like not to use the buzzword of self-care, but really how to nurture yourself and how to support yourself through doing something really hard.
Yeah, but it's important that allow yourself rest.
Yes.
But
yes. Oh my God. Rest is the most important thing.
You have to rest, but sometimes you don't allow yourself to rest. Like it's no, today I have to go run. No.
Yeah. I do think that's one thing that I learned the hard way. And I've always been very gentle with my training. This is the first time I've ever been injured in 7 years. And I never really cared about speed as much as I cared about going the distance, because I found something really beautiful in going longer, not going faster. I think it's very different, the way of running. And I think this past fall, something got into me where I was like, I want to get faster. Let's see what I can do. And that's how this happened. That's how my injury happened. And I just did too much and too soon and didn't allow myself for the rest. Just kept kind of pushing and kept it moving. And I had to learn the hard way, but
you learn it.
Rest. It's like the yin and the yang. It's the energies of coexisting in the duality of life. You can run, but you also have to allow for rest.
But now, with that injury, you probably connect more with yourself. Okay, I know that I have to rest, because if not, this happens to me, and I don't want this. I want to get a beautiful running journey.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think rest can sometimes be way more productive than any activity that you can do. And in pausing running for 3 months, I gave myself opportunity to try new things, do different. I just found aerial yoga.
That's so cool.
Oh my God,
Yeah,
where has this been my whole life?
Yeah.
There's something so great about being suspended in the hammock where you don't have to support your body weight. You're just held and your body can like open up and stretch in different ways. And I think that's a really great complement to running. And all kinds of other things, you know, that like cycling, I also never really did in the past. And I started going as I needed, like my body just, I ran every single day this past summer and then I just stopped. And so my body was craving like the forward motion, like it wanted to do something, and cycling was the closest to that. And I was just
highly recommended for injuries.
Yeah, I never really knew, you know, because I never had to. So that was really like cool to discover, you know. And so even though I was injured and couldn't run and couldn't do the thing that I love so much, I found so many other things that I enjoyed.
That's so cool.
And that is
you get like good things from
yes,
yeah.
I
think that yoga is the activity that fits the most with running.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
In my point of view.
Yeah, but I love it.
Okay, so we can talk about women body and training.
Mm-hmm.
Science have proven that the female body responds less well to stress, like emotional and physical. So I think that when we have a lot of stress, probably we don't do our best in training or running. I don't know if this happens to you.
Yeah, I feel like that's a controversial statement because I think sometimes when we are in stressful situations, it can take away from the focus when it comes to training. But I do think that there is also a way to use that stress and to channel it in our training and to help us find more power and push harder. And so, you know, I think it can go either way. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. It depends.
It depends. I think depends on the day, depends on the circumstances, depends on what else is going on.
If you had allowed yourself to rest.
Yes.
And all the things.
Yes.
Yeah. And for example, in the cycle, there's different phases.
Mm-hmm.
When you are already in your cycle, you run good, you run bad, you like have cramps, pain. How do you manage that?
That has been an interesting journey for me, and I think I want to talk about like female health a little bit here because I'm someone who was diagnosed with endometriosis in 2022. And I had surgery and I had fibroids and I had a lot of pain that I was experiencing during my cycle. And since then, things have improved, but that really impacted the way that I could train or could push. And, you know, on like the week, essentially, of my cycle, I would be completely out.
Yeah, it happens
because my body wasn't able to support me. And I think that was a big lesson that I needed to learn in terms of training a bit more intuitively, listening to my body. Like we talked about earlier, there is no template of a plan. Like ChatGPT can't give you a training plan that works for your body because your body is gonna go through its own cycles. And so being connected, and also not only with training and pushing, but also with eating.
Yeah.
And so with my eating, you know, I don't have a number of calories. I don't have grams of protein or carbs. I eat intuitively, with intuition, you know? And I think that really helps me because if I feel like eating a lot of carbs, I'll eat a lot of carbs. If I feel like I don't want to eat until 2 p.m., That's okay too. Maybe my body needs intermittent fasting, you know?
Yeah, so you listen your body.
You just kind of do what feels right, and it's that simple. I think people overthink it, and they because there's so much on social media in the world. We're like in information overload about this works and do this, and you're gonna look like this, and you're gonna feel like this, and you're gonna perform like, you know, and it's just it becomes so noisy. And at some point, like I just had to be like, that is all information that I can, you know, educate myself on, and also like metrics and performance analytics with like the watches and the where, you know, like that can be a rabbit hole.
Information you have to, okay, I can take this or not.
Yes.
Or I like this and this not.
Yes.
And do it by your body, by yourself, by your cycle. Every woman is different. Yeah. I don't know if you know that in luteal phase is ovulation phase is the phase that you get more changes to get injured.
I did not know that.
Because all the ligaments or tendons are like more flexible.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
I've never heard that, but that I can totally. And sometimes I think what I experience, there's also during that time, there's also more cramping and more pain that shows up in the body. And I can see how the body can be more vulnerable during that period. So good to know, to keep in mind.
I've done some races, and the night before, like, my synchronized, hello.
Yeah.
And it was like, I can with my body, but I have to do it. There's no other way. And probably you have to listen your body and say, I can, so probably I have to rest. And it's not the end of the world.
Right.
Yeah, pay a lot for a race inscription, but don't worry.
That reminds me, I mentioned earlier, I had an interesting experience because anytime in the past that I would start my cycle, I wouldn't run the first or the second day because of everything that my body is experiencing. And when you're under stress, you're literally physically bleeding out of your body. Like, people don't understand that.
It's crazy.
So like putting more stress and more pressure is not necessarily what your body needs. So I'd always take a break for a couple of days. But I had an opportunity to go to Antarctica in March of last year. And my God, that was, a journey of a lifetime, and might be a topic for another conversation altogether. But I knew it was going to be hard because of the weather elements, and I put in a lot of work training in the cold, in the snow, running on ice. We had like the coldest winter in New York, and it was perfect for
my
I'm
training.
like, I can get used to this. And the night before, we were on we got stuck there's this place called the Drake Passage, which is a place where 3 bodies of water meet, and it can be very choppy and rocky, and they call it either the Drake Lake, which is calm, or the Drake Shake. And we got the Drake Shake, and we couldn't go past, and we were stuck on the ship for 3 days. Wow. So imagine 150 runners who have trained for Antarctica Marathon, and they're, we're all like carb loading. We don't know if the race is going to be tomorrow or the next day or in 3 days.
A lot of days of carb
You just
loading.
kind of have to surrender to the experience and whatever the journey brings. And so, day after day, we're like listening to the captain's updates about the weather. When are we going to, be able to get to the other side? Are we going to be able to get to the other side? Because we only have so many days before we have to go back. So there was a time where I was like, maybe we won't even get to do this race. And so we were like running on the ship. We were running laps.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
The expedition ship had a gym, but it only had, I think, 3 treadmills. So and there's so many of us, so we were going crazy. But getting to the other side and being like, okay, we get to run, we get to do it. The night before, I started my cycle, and I had never raced under that condition before, and I was just like, oh my God, this is gonna be a disaster. Like immediately I was like, no, I'm gonna be in so much pain. Yeah. It's gonna be so cold. I'm gonna be miserable. And then I told myself, like, stop telling yourself that. Like it's all about like our own internal dialogue and the narrative that we tell ourselves.
You don't know what could happen.
Maybe it won't be like that. And so I took some, I took this Aleve. It's like a over-the-counter painkiller in the morning, and just was, like accepting of the situation that I was in. And the minute I started running, I just felt this wild power in me like I've never felt before.
Yeah, empowering.
It was almost like I had a superpower. It was almost like I had this like extra, I went into like a different mode, like my body, as if it was like a machine. And I had never experienced that. And the course was really difficult. It was hilly, and it was actually 6 times out and back, times 6. So you already know what you're gonna get. The first time you go, you're like, oh my God, I have to do that 6 more times. And there was mud. There was there were these like pebbles and like these puddles that made your feet sink. And like the faster you tried to move, the deeper you would sink. So you had to go slow. It was crazy. It was the toughest terrain ever. But what my body was able to do and how I was able to just kind of like push into a different gear. And I do think it's because of my period.
Yeah, my body is crazy.
Yeah, I just feel like there was like a wolf in me that awakened.
Okay,
and
that's so cool.
I actually placed 3rd.
Wow.
And I just was like, I can't believe I did that. And, so like you never know. I think sometimes we are conditioned to think that, while we're in this state, we're weak or we're fragile.
Yeah, but no.
But maybe there's power in it.
3rd, bleeding.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, I've done, but bleeding.
Right. Exactly.
Wow, so crazy. But that's so cool.
It was a huge surprise to me,
Sometimes it's what you say earlier, like the inner dialogue.
Yeah.
All the things that you say that I can do it could be terrible.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that experience, I remember when I came back from Antarctica, I just kept thinking to myself, I can do anything. Like it made me dream so much bigger. And
empower yourself.
Yeah,
the experience.
I kept thinking like people tell themselves like, oh, marathon training is hard. Yeah, it's gonna be hard if you tell yourself that.
That's the point, no?
Yeah, and like the biggest challenge and the biggest obstacle is your own belief that there is an obstacle.
Yeah, but it's the most difficult thing. Like your mind.
Yes.
It's your best partner and the worst.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you have to get like a balance, like, okay.
That's the trick.
That's the trick.
That's the secret.
But very difficult and very easy to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Running helps.
Okay, so I don't know if you want to talk about something else.
I think maybe just to close it, maybe a little message for all the women out there who might be curious about running. As I was just saying, if we are still conditioned to believe that marathon training is hard and, it takes so much time and so much dedication, and it does. But if you approach it from a place of curiosity and approach it from a place of it being like the next thing that you're figuring out and learning, give yourself permission to be a beginner. Give yourself, and I give myself permission to be a beginner every single time I step out there, because every run is so different. And no matter how many times I've run, like, it's always going to be hard. But that is the point. That is the point. And that's where the transformation happens. And I think getting curious about it and giving yourself space to be whoever you are and show up fully can be really healing and can be very transformative. So, like, embrace that fear, embrace the feeling of just being scared, and showing up is the hardest part. After that,
you can go.
You're on your own journey, and then, the rest is just a really beautiful experience. So if you are curious about running and wanting to experience it, I think just go for it. That's my little message.
Okay. Running isn't just about going further. Sometimes it's about returning to your body, listening, respecting it, and do it in company. So thank you so much, Aleks, for talking with me or with us the little time. And if this episode resonates with you, maybe the next time you go running, you won't be alone. So get a like and see you the next time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.